All right, so we're going to get started. I am Amber Parker, and this is my sweet husband, Josh Parker. We have been building this business together for over 7 years, which is crazy to think. And what's happening recently is a lot of people have been asking us how we build a business together. And so usually if it comes up once, twice, 3 times, at that point we're like, hey, there's other people that really are excited to build a business together and that just are afraid to ask. So we are going to get knee deep into relationships, marriage, building a business, how to find balance, what do you do? So we want to make sure that this is effective for you guys and all for you guys. So if you have a spouse, ideally it'd be nice if they were on this with you. Just so they can hear it and that you're not like, hey, watch that recording. Hey, babe, did you watch that? Like, hey, babe, I really want to build this business with you. Hey, do you want to watch that Zoom? So
make sure you pay attention at 10 minutes and 30 seconds. Yeah. You need this.
Yeah, exactly. So we want to make tonight all about you guys and answer lots of questions. So we got a lot into our inbox and a lot from different couples and different relationships. So we're going to start with our story. Okay. So Josh and I have been married. Next month will be 13 years. 13 years married, happily married. And I will tell you, marriage is like my favorite thing. It's something that we take very good care of, but also always willing to learn and grow and find out new ways to make the best of our marriage. This video is lagging. It's going to drive me crazy. So can you guys hear us? Okay. Thumbs up.
Audio's good.
Do you see how it's lagging? That's not going to drive me crazy. We good?
Just don't look at yourself.
Okay, I'm going to try.
Look down here.
Okay. So we have been married 13 years next month, and we're going to go all the way back 13 years ago. So I was working at Target. Josh was working at the bank inside Target, and that's where we met. Good old Target, okay? Where are we?
I took us off so you can't see yourself.
No. Yeah. So we met at Target and we started dating. He called me within 15 minutes of getting my phone number, and the rest is history. We went out the very next night and we spent every day together for the next 6 months. And within 11 months, we were engaged and married. And within less than just right at a year, we were pregnant with our first daughter, Avea. She's now 12. And we knew at that point, very early on in our marriage, that it was something we weren't going to take lightly. A little bit of background history. My parents just recently, about 3 or 4 years ago, got divorced after being married over 40 years. And your parents?
Yeah, my parents got divorced when I was 13, I think.
Ish. So we know what that's like, living in broken homes. And again, something that I knew we've seen what to do to make it not work. Let's figure out how to make it work. Okay. And if this pertains to you guys, show all the love in the comments, or if you guys have questions, drop them in the comments. We're going to try and answer those as well. We do have a list here on our phone. So after we got married, we knew we wanted kids. Obviously getting pregnant very early into the marriage. A lot of people think, oh, when my marriage is great, then we'll have kids. When finances are good, we'll have kids. I'll tell you guys, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but it does take work. I have to see some people. I just feel like I'm talking to myself. So we talked about everythh before we got married. And if you're married now and you're like, well, we didn't start now. I don't think that it's too late. I think that you can lack in communication. I don't think you can over communicate. So one of the things we always talked about was, how do we raise our kids? What do we do, with our money? Where do you want to spend your money? What kind of house do you want to live in? What kind of cars? Are you somebody who buys a new car every 6 months? Are you somebody who runs your car to the ground? And so these are all things that we talked about, and we tried to think of ways of what our parents did or didn't do, and what successful marriages have and what non-successful marriages have, and how do we not be perfect, because I don't think you can be perfect, but how do we create the best marriage for us?
Yeah, and that's the thing. We understand that every marriage is different, People have different dynamics in their marriages. And so that's something that we kind of wanted to say right off the bat. Like, we're going to tell our story. We're going to tell you guys a lot of things of what's worked for us, some things that we've noticed in other people's marriages that has not worked, things that haven't worked for us.
Yeah.
And, we're not telling you how to manage your marriage. We're not telling you what to do or what not to do exactly, because we're not you guys. But there are definitely some things that carry over into most relationships that are very important, especially when it comes to building this business and being married. Jason and Ashley Mayfield and the Yale College just did a Zoom a few days ago about building business and marriage. We were just off camping as a family out of service, so I haven't watched that, but I guarantee there's some amazing content in that video that you guys can pull from. And what I would just say is, as you are building your life with your spouse and with your family, you want to build a custom packaged life and marriage for you guys. So if you can get 5 or 6 or 10 things, tips and tricks and things that we've done that you think will be beneficial to your marriage, that's going to be amazing. And that's kind of our goal, is to help at least give you guys some things that will be helpful, especially when it comes to building this business.
Yeah. So we have built this business, like I said, now for 7 years, you guys. And we have been all the way from light shut off WIC and food stamps to bringing in a month what was possibly our income in 6 months to a year. And so we know the highs, we know the lows. We've also built this business with us both working full time. We have also built this business with 2 babies at home, and now close to teenagers at home, which is kind of, so we have the full spectrum. Okay. So hopefully as we go through these questions, we can address them as maybe a single parent dating, maybe as a new couple, maybe somebody who's just been dating for a really long time, or anyone who's just in a new relationship, or hopefully you're like, no, I've been married 20 years. Great. So hopefully we can kind of squeeze in all the categories of how this is going to fit for you. So when we first started building this business, and again, if you guys can relate to this, we're going to be super transparent. We're not going to hold anything back. Please don't judge us, but just understand that we're human and we've made a lot of mistakes, and we want to share those with you. And we've done things really well, and we're really proud of. So all kinds of highs and lows tonight, but we want to talk about it all and make sure we get it all out there. So when I started this business, I was working full-time in a salon, 2 babies at home, running around at my feet while I did hair. And Josh was working full-time for a network marketing company, corporate side. And I knew that I had to make this business work. And I communicated with him that I was going to be working at home with the kids during the day. He was working during the day. And there was going to be a couple months when we weren't going to eat dinner together. And there was going to be a couple months when I needed to run in this business, and I needed him to just have my back in that and not really say much, but just say, okay.
And just remember, guys, this was all brand new to us. Yeah. We didn't know, we had never built a network marketing company before. This is our first company, our only company ever. Yeah. And, we didn't know exactly what we were doing. And so we just figured out what we thought would be best. Yep. And we communicated it together. And this is what we came up with.
Yeah. So I knew that we needed a couple extra $100. And I think too, not knowing what to do in this business to make a couple $100, I just ran. I tried anything and everything, face-to-face, belly-to-belly, wrap parties, sipping samples. That was my lane, because I couldn't work my business on social media. And so again, maybe this is pertaining to you, right? Maybe you're working a 9-to-5 job and you're like, gosh, I can't be on my phone during the day. So we had to know we were going to make a sacrifice. I call it an investment at night away from each other short-term, so we could have long-term freedom. And we just had to communicate that. So we had to be on the same page. So that's tip number 1, is get on the same page. Ultimately, in a marriage, you're reading the same book, but you might be on chapter 1 and he's on chapter 6. And you're like, I need to catch up. So when I started, we knew we needed a couple $100. I didn't know what was required to get a couple $100. And so that's the first thing, is how do you want to get that few $100 to start with that goal? So whether you're watching this and you're like, I want 500, or you're watching this like, I need 6,000, whatever that is for you, you have to find that out. Okay. So how is that going to look for you? So I knew for me, I needed to do basically a wrap party every single night, and which meant I was meeting Josh at his work, and he would take the kids home, and I would take my car with a handful of friends usually, and I would go to wrap parties. I would drive 2 to 3 hours to sometimes do these wrap parties. And I communicated with him, not that I was going to be home earlier, but that I was going to be home later. And so that is, again, something else that I feel like a lot of frustration builds when we say, hey, I'm going to go to an event and I'll be home by 2 o'clock. And you show up at 6 p.m. Not happy, not excited. I've had the kids all this time. So get very clear. And so a word of advice to the wise is that if you say this event is from 11 to 2, you tell him, I'm going to be home at 7. And they're mentally preparing for 7 o'clock. You show up at 5, they're like, woo, baby, you're home, right? So always communicate more time than less time, okay? And people would ask us, I mean, there was sometimes I was at home till 11 or midnight, depending on when I would come home, which I also know that meant we only had 30 minutes to communicate before bed instead of 3 hours. That also meant I was no longer watching TV shows at night because I had spent that time building my business. And so, I mean, it was months that I had missed out on TV shows, on friends nights. I had to plan them. And if I had a wrap party or friends, I was doing a wrap party. My business was more important short-term so I could have long-term freedom. So when you are running in this business, communicate. I cannot stress it enough that if we think, oh, he just knows, like, I'm working. What do you mean? I'm working. Like, you should know this. No, they don't. And if you say, I'm going to be gone from this time to this time, they expect you home. Vice versa, right? If he says, hey, babe, I'm going golfing, I'll be home at 3 o'clock, and he shows up at 5, I'm not going to be happy. Because mentally, I've prepared to handle these rugrats until 5 o'clock, and you're home at 7, and I need you 4 hours earlier, and I'm already done. Like, please help me out, right? So communicate. Longer term versus shorter term. Okay? And
at the same time, guys, be flexible. Like, just understand, events especially. You plan on going to an event, right? You go to the event ends, maybe you met some new people there, you want to go to eat lunch or go to dinner together and kind of unpackage what you learned at the training or whatever. If that was unplanned, check in with your spouse, communicate that you're going to be later, and vice versa on both sides. I feel like we can all do a lot of good in our marriages by being a little bit more flexible and giving our spouses more grace when things change or are a little bit different.
Don't go as planned, for sure. So again, building this business, in the beginning, I was working full-time. He was working full-time. And we just knew that communicate again, like, okay, I may not be able to eat dinner with you guys every single night, but let's really enjoy Sundays because Sundays are our time together. And so communicate. What's that schedule going to look like for you? I went Ruby in 45 days. I went diamond in 3 months. I went triple diamond in 8 months. And at that point, we retired Josh. Now, here is something that sorry guys, the kids, joys of working from home. Here is something too that I would highly recommend is that you have to be smart with your finances. And we're going to dive right in because there's a lot of people who are like, I don't even know what to do with $1,000. And now I have 5. And so now I'm going to blow it. And then when I have a low season, I'm screwed. Like, we're going to talk about it, guys. So, when we retired Josh at 8 months in, now let me make this very clear. Not every husband is meant to be home. They're not. Guys, like, it is not our job as a wife to retire our spouse. It is not our job as a wife to say, I want to be that person who says, I brought my husband home. Whoop-de-doo if it makes your marriage struggle. Like, good for you if it's not making you happy. Like, right? So let me make that very clear. Not every husband should be home. Okay? Am I clear? Can I get an amen? Okay? So here is the difference in this, okay? There is we live in a world where times are changing, but the husbands need to be needed. And Josh is going to talk a little bit on this too, but most families cannot depend on one income to provide for the whole house. Well, network marketing usually isn't any more different, okay? So this happened too when Josh was doing summer sales. We he was the only one working, and I was home with the babies in an apartment, and it was fun for about 2 weeks. And then I was becoming a little bit bitter that he was out with the boys, knocking doors, eating at restaurants, and I'm at home taking care of the kids. I didn't have a purpose. I didn't have my own outlet. I didn't have a contribution. Yes, I was taking care of the kids, but for me, it wasn't fulfilling. And so not every person should be home together 24/7. Okay. Now you're going to have to figure that out if that is your case. But a lot of times I'm finding, or that I'm seeing, is that these women are saying, I want to be that girl who brings her husband home. And the husband's like, I don't want to come home. Okay. Don't make him come home, guys. Like, let him keep working his job. I think the true freedom is having the choice. And if Josh wants to go and be a farmer, go be a farmer. If he wants to go and do plumbing, go do plumbing. If you want to go and you want to be a firefighter, go do whatever you want to do. I think that's the ultimate freedom, is not that we want to bring our spouses home. We want to allow our spouse to have the freedom of the job, that it doesn't matter what the pay is, it matters what the passion is. Okay. So making sure you have it clear. Okay. And decide with them, babe, do you want to come home? Like, I got 5 kids. Do you want to help cook dinner more? Do you want to do the laundry? Do you want to be Mr. Mom? If he says no, honey, no. Like, it's okay. You can still build a very effective business without having a Mr. Mom at home. It's just going to look different, right? Anything you want to add on bringing them home, not bringing them home?
Yeah,
What's your opinion?
I think that, about a year or 2 after we got started, a lot of people were bringing spouses home, and that was like kind of the thing to do. And, guys, just remember that the key word is freedom, like freedom to be able to do what you want to do, to be able to build the life that you want to live. And that doesn't need to look a certain way.
Yeah.
Just like Amber said, a lot of people work a certain job because they need that money from that job. They don't have any other options. So that's kind of the worst case scenario. I'm working a job because I need money that I don't like, right? And then the complete opposite of that is being financially free and being able to control your time and what you do and all of that. And so as you guys start to build your businesses and your teams grow and your checks grow, and you start to pay off debt and you start to have the freedom to be able to do what you want as far as your husband working or not, coming home or not, all of those things. The key, just like Amber said, is to, and even beforehand, talk about and dream together what your ideal life looks like. Because, I was having this conversation with somebody a few days ago, a top VIP, and, we are building our dream life. We are going to be building this business for the rest of our lives. And so what we're wanting to do is to design our lives so that everything's enjoyable. Like, I want to wake up and be able to do my personal development and enjoy that. When I'm working my business, I want to enjoy that. When I'm spending time with my family, I want to enjoy that. And when I'm doing all the other hobbies and other things that I'm doing, I want to enjoy that as well, right? That to me is freedom, to be able to enjoy all the different aspects that we have in this life. And so if your husband's not going to enjoy coming home and watching kids and cleaning and making meals and stuff like that, then don't even plan for that. If he hates his job right now, but he needs to work that job because that's where you guys are at financially, then start making a plan for him to exit that job when the finances are there, but then to enter into something that else that he wants. If he's
and be clear too, you guys, that okay, if you want to change jobs, if you want to take a less salary to have a more enjoyable job, then Josh and I have what's called your 10 acres. And that means what's in my 10 acres, what's in his 10 acres, and then what's in our 10 acres.
Got a lot of farming.
I know, man. We don't even live on a farm, but we do. And this is like a list of like the way that I do things, the way that he does things, and the way that we do things together. And it divides the responsibilities, but it doesn't give you permission to micromanage. Okay. And so again, honey, okay, we want you home in 6 months. For the next 3 to 6 months, our nights are going to look like this. And he's going to say, no, I'm not okay doing laundry. Okay, let's create a win-win. I actually don't, I didn't cook, you guys, for the longest time because I just burn everything, and I just, it wasn't something I was passionate about. It didn't bring me joy. I'm not doing it. Okay. Now I cook, but we communicated that.
And I love to cook. So that works. That particular dynamic works great for us. Yeah. I love to cook. She doesn't like to cook.
And I don't feel
very natural for us. Might not be like that for you.
Yeah. I don't feel like you need to do things you don't enjoy, but you need to learn to adapt or find a way to make it work. So if he's like, I don't like to cook, I'm like, I don't like to cook. Okay, what's our solution? Okay, I don't want to watch the kids at night. Well, I need to do wrap parties or this or that, or I need this time to focus on my, okay, so what's a solution? And be solution-based versus point fingers and say, well, if you don't do this, then I can't do this. If you don't watch the kids and do all this every single night, and here's my husband do-do list, okay, then here's my wife do-do list, and neither of you want to do it, well, what's the solution? Or are you just going to become bitter like, oh, his is laundry and it's not done? No, you don't get to micromanage that, okay? Or, you know what, we're going to do laundry together as a family on Saturday mornings. That's our laundry time. You're off your phone, blah, blah, blah. Okay, makes sense? So.
And something I'll say about this really quick is just be self-aware of how your marriage works as far as all this stuff goes. Because as I look back on a lot of the stuff that we've made work, some of it was a conversation. We recognized that something wasn't working. We had a conversation to figure out what we needed to do to make it work. But a lot of this stuff for us was just kind of fell into place because we were aware that it needed to happen. And maybe it was my strength to make it happen. So I just made it happen. Amber's done that as well. You know, as you guys are going through and figuring out all these things, who's going to do what and how can we, you know, build this life? How can we build our business and build our marriage and all of that? A lot of it, if you guys are aware, if you pay attention, you know, things will come up and you'll be able to just handle them because they need to be handled. And by handling them, you make your spouse's life better, which makes your life better. And so that's some other advice that I'll give both to husbands and wives is be self-aware. Kind of keep your eyes open, you know, pay attention to what's going on in the house, pay attention to your spouse's mood, and help out where you can without being told or asked or having a big, long conversation about it. Like if there's a sock in the middle of the hall, you don't need to call a family meeting and be like, all right, who's going to pick up this sock? All right, let's make a list of our strengths and weaknesses to see who would be best to pick up this sock. Okay, you don't need to have a big conversation about it or make a big deal. I think the best marriages are ones that function. You know, we always hear communication. That is very important, and we're going to talk more and more about that tonight. But if you can eliminate the need for communication because you're aware of what's going on around you and what's going on in your marriage, I think that's just a bonus all the time.
So ultimately decide, I know I'm trying to not read the chat right now. We're going to go through these questions and then we're going to read the chat. But ultimately, you guys, not every spouse should come home. If it's not his deal, there's guys who are going to be watching this that actually work the business and their wives don't work the business. If they don't want to come home, don't bring them home. Communicate and again, create that dream life. Like talk on date nights. And that's something else we're going to get into is how do we find balance in all the areas? How do you guys not want to rip each other's hair out? Okay. So we're going to dive into these questions and hopefully they'll resonate again with all the different categories of the people that are going to watch this. But
are we going to talk about guys coming home still, or are we kind of moving on from that?
We can.
Okay. The last thing that I'll say about that, you guys, before a spouse comes home, you need to have a game plan of how that's going to look beforehand. Because, you know, for me, I had been working my whole life up until that point. I had gone to work, I'd worked different jobs my whole life. Most of the time I loved working. And, you know, when you quit your job and retire to come home and work at works full time, if you don't come home and have a purpose, after about a week, your husband's going to start getting stir crazy. And if it goes for 2 weeks where he doesn't have stuff to do, you know, you could even get depressed, like get into depression and stuff, because we're just wired. I think men and women are wired this way, but I think more so men are wired to produce, to work, to have a goal and a purpose in mind and to work hard at it. And so, you know, if you have a vision for bringing your husband home and that vision includes him working the business with you, start that process before he actually quits and comes home. So we're going to get into different things that, you know, guys can do to help out and how that might look for you if you're wondering about that. But whether he's going to come home and work at Works or come home and, you know, build furniture build furniture in the garage and sell it, or whatever he is going to do, it's really great to have a game plan beforehand, so that he doesn't come home and get depressed after 2 weeks and drive you crazy.
Yeah. Guys, this is it. This is true life right now. You're going to see us handle running a full-time business and a family. And by the way, we homeschool our kids. So they're literally with us all the time. It's crazy. Well, here we go. So, here, this one of the questions is, as a female, how do you handle all the financial pressure of the household when you're the sole income earner? I don't think you should be the sole income earner. And again, this is opinion. This is not facts. We are not marriage counselors. But one of the, if you guys Google and study, and this was something else that we also dive into and say, okay, if these are all top reasons for divorce, how can we eliminate these reasons? And a lot of it is splitting finances. If I'm going to be super transparent, it's splitting finances. Your money, my money. You get married and you're one. And this is something, again, if you study high divorce rates, it is splitting money. And it allows us control over the women feeling less than, the husband feeling superior, or vice versa. We run this business as women. I'm the sole income producer. I make the most money. No. It's not my money. It's our money. And if and when, and again, this is just my opinion. Please don't judge me. I'm not judging you. You don't need to tell me what you do with your finances. I'm just offering a suggestion that when you say, I am the sole income earner, now that makes your husband feel inferior and not contributing. And they contribute differently. It's the same flop 9 to 5. If the wife was home raising the babies and the husband is working, it's still the wife's money. She's working 9 to 9, sun up to sundown, making sure these kids survive. Okay. She's doing laundry. That's working. She is doing, food. She's doing running kids to sports, all of the things. Well, everything in a business and marriage should be ours. And for a long time, if I'm going to be super transparent, I felt like this was my business. This is my business. I started it. I signed up first. I work the business, meaning I sign up customers. I sign up distributors. It's my business. We need to shift that. Okay? Because if the husband was bringing in this amount of money, you surely would want a part of that, right? We would not be mad if husband was like, honey, your allowance this month is $1,000. You'd be like, oh, yes, that's my money, boo, right? So let's start shifting it from mine and yours to we and us, okay? So, and again, feeling the pressure of being the sole income earner, communicate. Like, just because I sign up loyal customers and distributors doesn't mean this isn't Josh's business. And this is before he was brought home. This was before he decided to work the business with me. He may not post on social media opportunity post, but he does everything to make my caboose run. Okay. So he does all the house stuff, not all of it. I do it too. And this is, again, it's deciding, what do you enjoy? What do I not enjoy? Very early on in our marriage, he didn't like the way I folded towels. Perfect. I never have to fold towels. You like them folded a certain way. That's in your 10 acres. Right? You figure it out. Check. Done. I don't have to do that because I fold them this way. And if I'm going to do them, then you don't get to say how I do them. Micromanage, right? So if you're going to ask your husband to do the dishes and he loads plates on top, don't be mad about it. That's not for you plates to decide. Some of them do. The kids want to do. See, right? And then your kids get older and you just have your kids do the dishes and then you're like, I'm really not saying a word. They're done. So you're going to find things that are just not worth arguing over. So again, how do you handle the pressure that you're the sole income earner? You stop looking at it like I'm the sole income earner. No, we are doing this together. And maybe you are. Maybe you're like, no, my husband has his own money. My husband has his own job. If it's working for you, then you wouldn't be whining about it. If it's not working for you, you're going to whine about it. So ask yourself, is it working or is it not working? Okay.
Well, and I think just to speak on that, sorry guys, our AC is being all loud. We got 50,000 things to manage here while we're doing this. What I would say on that is just that, just remember you're on the same team. You guys are building this together. Like, I think one of the worst things you can do in a marriage is to keep score, because there's so many things that that she does that I don't do. There's so many things that I do that she doesn't do. There's so many things that I do that she has no idea that I do because she doesn't see me doing them, and vice versa. There's a ton of things that my wife does that I couldn't even begin to recognize her for because I don't see them. I'm not aware of what goes into doing those things. I don't know how much emotion and energy she has put into doing those things. I can't possibly recognize her for all of the amazing things that she does. You just can't do it. But just remember that you guys are on the same team, and the more that you can be on the same team and be on the same page and do that communication when it needs to happen so that you can be working together. I mean, the quickest way to ruin your dreams is to be fighting in different directions with your spouse when it comes to building your life together.
I love that.
Nobody wins when you guys are working apart and, you know, fighting against each other and keeping score and
that's
all
in
of
all
this
areas.
stuff. Yeah.
All areas. Okay. So again, it's not a sole income earner. Like, this isn't, you got to figure that out.
Yeah.
This is not,
there really is no sole income earner, because if you are
my paycheck, my name's on the paycheck. No.
Yeah,
right.
You're working the business, you're enrolling distributors and you're enrolling customers, and you're posting on social media and doing all of those things that are very important to build that income. Well, there's a lot of other stuff that's being done that allows you to do those things, right? Unless there's not. I mean, if your husband's just sitting there on the couch watching Saved by the Bell reruns all day, then yeah, you know, you are the sole provider in that case. But if he is participating in building the family and
taking care of the kids, laundry, dishes,
doing any of those things, yeah, then you guys are working this business together in that case. That's the way I see it.
Okay. Next question. He is a realist and I am an optimist. How do I make him see a big picture and not make negative comments when things fluctuate up and down, right? So diving into this a little bit more is, and same thing, okay? You're working a normal 9-to-5 job, and let's say he doesn't get that pay raise that he wanted. Are you going to say, oh, babe, should have showed up to work a little bit earlier? Let's see if we can make the mortgage this month. Like, you would never say that, okay? So vice versa, don't say those kind of things in this business. We know, and we're going to talk about finances in a minute, we know that as business owners, which is every single person who's going to watch this, there are ups and there are downs, and there are ups and there are downs. And there are going to be seasons where you have the biggest paychecks and you have medium paychecks, okay? Or biggest paychecks paid as and medium/lowest paychecks paid as, okay? And the problem isn't the highs and the lows. The problem is the discipline in your money. The problem is the discipline in saying, I'm rich and now I got debt and now I want to live this lifestyle that says I'm rich and I'm big and I'm bold and I'm bougie, and you have a low season. And so if you are an optimist and he is a realist, okay, we used to call that I'm the gas, he's the brake. That's how this went. I always was like, oh, this is cute. This is, it's only $10. Let's buy it. Like, oh, and he's like, babe, break. Like, do we need it? No. Okay. Do you want this or do you want that? Well, do you want a family vacation for $10,000 in December, or do you want $100 spent over and over and over and over and over on crap that you never are going to use? Okay. So I think you can have both. I think, again, the communication where we're going debt free. And I remember looking at him and literally we call it trimming the fat, which is like, where can we cut down on things that are wasteless money? And you guys, it blew my mind when we actually ran all the automatic payments that we have It was insane. And I was like, what is that? Get rid of this. What? This app, that app, this notification. It blew my mind. So if you want to start there, start there. But I looked at him, Josh, and I said, babe, if you tell me that I can't go get a Diet Coke, we're going to have problems. If you are going to count my pennies, okay, we're going to have problems.
She makes this joke all the time because we knew a couple that if she wanted to buy a Diet Coke, she had to ask permission.
And she had to have a receipt. I'm like, it's 97 cents, boo. Like, don't tell me I can't go. And I'm not, again, like, I'm not.
We've never been like that, not even close.
No, but the point is, even if it's like, I need a reward for my work. I don't need $1,000 every single month. I need one of my 5 fast starts. Okay. And again, make the goal. Babe, if I sign up 5, one of those is my money. And we did the same thing when Josh wanted to start doing our basement. I said, okay, you help me bring in 10 distributors a month, and that $1,000 can be yours to build the business. So what do you think he was more likely to do? Support me in finding those distributors so I could help him get the $1,000 to go build the basement. So finding that realist, okay, or optimist, I know I can pull in 10 distributors. It'd be nice to have your help. And oh, by the way, if you want to tee up some more time so I can go work a little bit harder so I can enroll a little bit more, maybe you'll get $2,000. Okay, so what are those goals that he wants that I also want that we can work together on?
Yeah, and this is definitely a situation where I would have a sit down, straight up conversation about this.
Yeah.
Because people tend to be on way different pages about this. And I think this varies a lot in different marriages. I'll bet you if you go back and watch, if you haven't already, the Zoom that the Mayfields did with the Alcalas, the Mayfields are able to pay off a bunch of debt really quickly, basically by eliminating all spending for a while and, paying off their debt. Some couples can do that, and some couples will end in divorce if they try to do that. And so we are a little bit different with managing our money. I know, just like Amber said, if she's working hard right now, then there needs to be a reward for that hard work right now.
Otherwise, I'm not going to work hard, right?
And knowing that about her, I'm not going to say, hey, babe, I want to put every single penny of our paycheck into paying off debt, and we're not going to buy anything for the next 6 months until our debt's paid off. Okay? Because what's going to happen? In our situation, Amber's not going to be rewarded for her work. Okay? She's going to be less motivated to work. Her work ethic is going to decline. Then our checks are going to go down, and then we're not even going to pay off that debt in 6 months. We're going to pay it off in 2 years because she doesn't have anything to work for. Okay? That's how she works. I know that's how she works. And so we adjust our finances and how we work things to benefit everyone, right? The ideal situation for us is for Amber to work hard, for her to feel rewarded for her work, which will motivate her to work even harder to increase our check so we have more money left to pay off debt. That's what works best for us. Some couples can be like, all right, we're not even buying a Diet Coke. We're going to drink water for 6 months. We're going to pay all this debt off, and then we'll be a little bit more fluid with our finances. And there's every spectrum in there, depending on how you guys are, but just have a conversation about it and decide what works.
Yeah, and I think it's a plan, it's a goal. If you don't plan, you're not going to hit it. If you don't hit it, then you're going to be mad, and you're going to be in the same situation in 5 years. You're like, I'm in the same financial struggle here and making $20,000 as it was making $2,000. Why? Well, because you didn't have a plan, you didn't have a goal, and you also didn't have the discipline. Okay? And so this was the same thing when we got married. I said, babe, I don't care how broke we are. What happens, I will always need to go tanning for my mental health, and I would like to always have my nails done. That's it. So I knew back then Diet Cokes every day weren't a thing because I wanted to get my nails done more than I wanted a Diet Coke. Okay? So, and either way, I knew that like when I feel better, I perform better. When I perform better, I produce better results. When I produce better results, we all feel better. When mama's happy, we're all happy, right? So again, it was, please, I'm willing to eliminate this if I can have that. What is that I'm eliminating? Because at that point, we're like, I want you to sacrifice, and I want you to sacrifice, and I want you to sacrifice, and then I get everything? No. So again, eliminating, where can I trim the fat? Where can I eliminate? Okay. So we were eating out every single day. Now we're only eating out on date nights. Okay. Makes sense? What does it look like now? How can we trim and say, we're still being rewarded. We will never not do date nights. I don't care at what cost. That is not a cost I'm willing to pay of not doing date night with my spouse every single week. We don't need $100 meal. Can we split a meal? Right? Can we, I don't need to go to my favorite restaurant. When we were dated, he was balling and I was like Red Lobster twice a week. Okay. And then you go onto food stamps and WIC and you're like ramen with a little extra, Netflix and chill. Okay. But you still need to do it. Regardless, you still need to do it. Right. So realist, optimist.
Yeah. So something else I'll say about this is just that the business that we are in, they are fluctuation in checks, right? Our checks go up, they go down a little bit, they go up, they fluctuate. Anytime you're any sales job or any job that is based on commissions will fluctuate. Okay. And so we need to have that conversation with our spouses up front and budget our money accordingly. Okay. It's just like a normal person that works a 9 to 5 job. When I worked a 9 to 5 job, let's say I made $60,000 a year. That's $5,000 a month. Okay. We need to make sure that our bills are paid with that $5,000, that we have money for savings, that we have money for date night, and that we're not running out of money before all those things are taken care of. The exact same thing is true with our budget. You're going to make a certain amount of money probably over the year. Budget that money accordingly. If you're making $10,000 a month, right now, you might be making $15,000 next month, or you might be making $6,000 or $5,000. Okay, it's going to fluctuate up and down, and so budget your money accordingly, so that, like Amber said, if there is a fluctuation down, that you're not relying on a big check that you had last month because you have a little bit smaller check this month.
Yep. So, and that was something again that we knew even to this day. I remember Mark saying, never change your lifestyle too soon. And it is a big mistake a lot of people make, where they say, oh my gosh, I just got my first diamond paycheck and this is more money than my husband makes. Let's go buy a brand new car just because we can afford the payment. Let's go buy a house just because we can afford it. Just because you can afford it right now doesn't mean that's where you want to spend your money in 6 months. Okay. So when we started making this money, and still to this day, we live on a very normal budget. All right. So let's go back for those that were in 2016, 2017. You guys know what took, those checks, that it was hard, super transparent. It was freaking hard. Okay. But we weren't stressed out because we weren't living our budget here. We were still here. So yes, it wasn't like, oh, we had all the extra money in the world, right? But we still were fine as far as financially, because we didn't get our first $35,000 check and be like, oh, want 6 new cars.
$2 million home.
Yep, $2 million home. Let's go do it. No, we live on a very normal budget. We budget our groceries. We budget date night. We budget daycare. Now we have a nanny. Our savings, our givings, like all of it. Okay, we budget everything based on your income. And if 1 month it's higher, great. Where's that going to go investment wise?
Put that in some savings to buffer a little bit lower check.
Yep. And so then you're not like, oh, we were expecting a bonus. And, husband went and he's just car sales. And if he sells this many cars, then we're going to get a bonus. So many people celebrate too soon. They also spend too soon. And this is a problem that needs to be addressed. And it might be a reality check. And that was me, you guys. That was so me before. I'm like, well, coming up, we're going to get this. Coming up, we're going to have tax return, right? How many people do that? We used to be those people who live for tax season, where we're like, oh, I'm going to get $3,000. Let's buy it now and pay it off later. No. Okay. You live. My dad always said, if you don't have cash, you don't buy it. So if you don't, just because you have the money now doesn't mean. Who is here? Somebody's at our house. Oh my gosh, you guys, this is great. Okay.
Yeah,
so
always something.
So how can we better plan for the different seasons of highs and lows? plan accordingly. Don't change your lifestyle too soon. There's ambassadors that still live in a very normal home that's comfortable. I say dream, but don't go from the lowest to the extreme. Okay? You can take medium steps. I know this home isn't our forever home. It doesn't mean I can't dream bigger, but it also doesn't mean that I need to be stupid about my money. We just got a new car after my car that I paid in cash as a double diamond hit over 200,000 miles. And we were able to give it to a friend, okay? And I went and bought a reasonable car, although I could have afforded a $100,000 car, doesn't mean I need one, okay? So,
and I love the way that Amber phrased this earlier. It's always a trade-off. Every time you make a decision that you're going to buy something, you are telling yourself, I'm buying this, which means you're not buying something else. You know, I'm going to buy this $100,000 car, which means I'm going to have a $1,500 payment, which means I can't go on date night anymore. And I'm going to be stressed out about my bills every single month. And if my check drops, now my car is repossessed. You know, every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. And so think about that philosophy. We read a really great book with the field team called Necessary Endings. So check that book out if you get a few minutes, or if you're looking for a new book. But it kind of talked about that principle. Every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. And so make sure that the yeses are the important things, and that you're not saying yes to something very unimportant and in the moment, which means you're saying no to something that's very important.
I love that. Okay, we're going to finish these up. I'm working so hard.
I'll break back.
Okay, you're fine. I'm working so hard and it's not growing to the degree that I want. And I get an amen. How many of us are like, I am working 8 hours a day, 24/7, all day long. When I'm sleeping, I'm still working, and it's just not growing. Okay, let me get real clear. Okay? Sometimes it's not what you're doing, it's what you're not doing. And this could mean, some people are going to like this, and Josh isn't here to tell me to be nice, so here we go. Okay? It's not what you're doing, it's what you're not doing. You're not taking time to be mom. You're not taking time to be wife. You're not taking time to be Emily and Marina and Lauren. I'm a person. I am not just a business owner, and I am surely not just a mom. I am Amber Lee Parker, and I have a purpose. And I need to feel that. I need to invest in that, okay? Sometimes it's the fact that you haven't gone out with your girlfriends to decompress in over 2 months. Sometimes it's the fact that you haven't even slept in the same room as your husband for a few months. Okay. Sometimes it's the fact that you haven't opened a book or listened to a podcast in so long. And so if you're working hard, I would go as far, oh my gosh, the Roomba just started. What is this? What is this? Turn it off.
It's all good.
It's on the app. Do it. So that's supposed to go at 10 in the morning. So here's the thing, you guys, it's not what you're doing, it's what you're not doing. And there's 4 categories that I loved. I'm going to touch real quick on this, and then I'll probably have to do a later Zoom. There's body, there's being, there's business, and there's balance. Okay, balance is in your relationships. You might be like, I'm putting in all the hours. I've got 100 hosts to post up a day. I've got my time. I've got babysitters. I'm messaging. I'm posting. I'm doing all these things, but you're not taking care of your body. Well, I'd suggest it, because that hour at the gym could be the time that you double dip into mind growth and physical growth, and your business could explode. I don't have time for the gym. Honey, you don't have time not to go to the gym. Okay. And for me, I haven't been to the gym, you guys, in over 9 months almost due to an accident, but you bet I get out and do something. Okay. So whether that's walking together in the morning, whether that's personal growth, whether that's laying at my pool, yep, that's my gym time. Don't even hate. Don't be mad about it. I need a tan, right? So that's my personal time. And so if you're saying, I'm working so hard and I'm not producing results, well, what are you not doing? Because oftentimes we're just sitting on our phones and your husband's like, hello, is your phone dead yet? Get off your phone, right? But I'm telling you, you guys shouldn't be on your phone 27 hours a day if you're disciplined in what you want and how you want to do it. Okay? We're going to dive into that.
Yeah. So what I'll say really quick about the phone, because I know you're going to hit on them some more, but Yeah, I would say there's two main reasons that your husband would be upset about you being on your phone. Either it's because you're not fully investing in your relationship in other areas, like doing date night
Going to
or
bed together.
satisfying the love language, spending time together, investing in that relationship. Because no matter what you do, your spouse is not going to be happy about what you're doing if your relationship is not healthy, right?
You're gonna numb it.
I could be doing the dishes and getting yelled at if my wife's upset at me because I'm not investing in that relationship. And so if your husband's upset that you're on your phone, it's either because you guys are not investing fully in your relationship, or it's because you guys haven't properly communicated expectations of phone time.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And you cannot assume any of that. You cannot assume, like, I can't assume that Amber knows how much time I should be on my phone, or vice versa, right? Have that conversation with your spouse that says, hey, I'm going for a promotion, or, I'm working hard to retire you, or I'm working hard so that we can pay cash for Christmas, or whatever the case may be. Just communicate clearly when you'll be on your phone, and then just be on your phone during that time.
And again, it's if you have kids at home and he's working a full-time job, you should be able to get off your phone the minute he comes home. If you've been disciplined in your morning routine, your kids take a nap, they have quiet time, they have movie time, they have lunch time. Those are your moments that you squeeze this business into your life. Okay. Now, again, there was times where I was like, hey, babe, for the next 3 months, while I go diamond every single night, Monday through Saturday, I might be gone, or I might be on my phone. And communicate with that. Okay, babe, dinner's handled, kids are in bed. I'm going to take 1 hour and I'm disciplined in my time. You guys don't need 27 hours. You need discipline. That's what you're lacking, is discipline. Okay. And so then, hey, babe, from 9 to 10, and you set a timer. You be disciplined. And if you say you're going to do something, you do it. Otherwise, don't say you're going to do it, because it builds distrust. And if you don't have trust in a relationship, you have nothing. Okay. So I'm going to work from 9 to 10. At 9:59, you are off your phone. And that is on the charger, doing whatever. What are we doing, babe? I'm all yours. But if I keep saying, oh, just hang on, I've got a couple more messages to send. No, that goes on tomorrow's list. If you weren't disciplined in your time, you're bad, not his. He doesn't get punished because you suck at discipline. Figure it out, right?
Okay. And then the other thing I want to say, just because it popped in my mind, is, kind of a reality check for a lot of people is that if your relationship isn't strong, you want to be on your phone to avoid working on the relationship, right? Yep. It just is the reality for a lot of people. You're scared to get off your phone at 8:59. Because then you have alone time with your spouse and you guys are not on the same page, or you haven't been working in a relationship, so it's awkward, or you don't have something to do because for whatever reason. So if that's where you guys are at right now, just start. There's no shame in admitting hey, we need to work on a relationship, and just start building it back up.
And this is something else, again, schedule date night. If it's not on your calendar, it's not important to you. And we schedule date night or day dates. Or for instance, today, we knew that today was going to be crazy. And we had to go take back a trailer, which is 30 minutes away, which means an hour. And we literally were like, hey, babe, this is our time alone right now. No kids, this is it. We only have an hour. And we communicated the whole way back and forth. So if your rule is on Sundays, as we head to church, no phone. If it's once we're, at the dinner table, no phone. You have to set those tones. Now, you guys are going to get off the Zoom and you're like, babe, I'm going to be the best wife there is. And I'm not going to be on my phone past 9 p.m. and I'm going to eat dinner and every single meal with you. No. And don't have them do it. They're going to be like, what? Now it's 9 o'clock and I can't play my video games and you want to go work? Okay, communicate, but also inspire, right? And Josh and I still struggle with this. We are not perfect. But for instance, on date nights, we do our absolute best to not be on our phones. We'll take pictures of the food because who needs it for the gram, right?
Oh, yeah.
We'll tag the location because you want a good deal, whatever. But then like, we have to remind each other, like, get off your phone, please. And we don't say it like that, right? It's how you effectively say it. I'm not going to sit here and stare at him like, 10 o'clock, still on your phone.
And sometimes, like,
Rude.
we'll get ready for date night, and we know we're driving 20 minutes away to a restaurant, and something will come up, and I'll be like, hey, I've got this thing. I'm going to be probably 10 minutes. Then I'm all yours. She communicates it to me. I'm like, cool. She handles it, and then we're off to date night.
But I'm also more aware, and vice versa, that, okay, I have 20 minutes to handle whatever potentials are coming in, then I can be focused at dinner. And I think it's, when was the last time we go out to date night and we'll look around, and you guys, when was the last time you actually looked your spouse in the eye and you talked about something else other than your kids and your business? That's a problem. There's so much more to life, because what's going to happen is these babies are going to grow up. They're going to turn 18. They're out of the house. And then this is usually when parents split, because I grew, he grew, and we didn't grow together. I grew taking care of the kids. You grew taking care of your work. And then now, what do we do? Who are you?
And the same thing I was talking about. If there's enough distractions in your life, you can't avoid each other and not have those conversations. And it will seem more like a normal life because, hey, I'm just handling my work stuff. And hey, you're handling the kids. And, you know, we're busy adults. And you never address it. It never happens. And then, you know, when work slows down and the kids are out of the house, like, okay, like, you've grown apart, and like, what was it all for? And that's really the overlaying message that I want to come out of this is, like, what are you building? Like, what, all of this effort, like, what's it for?
Yeah.
For us, it's to have a happy marriage with our kids, be financially free, and be able to work our business and inspire others and affect other people's lives, and just build an amazing life. And if the things that you are doing are not progressing you towards that, or whatever your check marks look like, then shift it. If it's not building into that life that you're trying to build, then let's make some shifts.
So this is something else, is family time. You guys have to plan it and get off your phone. If I'm disciplined in my time that I do have my bathroom breaks, okay? I'm waking up an hour before my kids. I know my husband goes to the gym at 5 o'clock. I'm doing a power hour. You don't need to work all day long. At that point, you're scrolling, but you should be very disciplined in your time and say, okay, like, I only do my follow-ups on the first of the month, every month. That's it. That's all I need. For my loyal customers that are past due, once a month, they're done. I know, like, I don't need to do these things every single day. The problem is when we're like, I need to run numbers today. No, you don't. You already did it. Or you didn't in the scheduled time that you said you were going to do. Or, like, I add every single day on Instagram or Facebook. It takes me 0.25 seconds. It doesn't take me an hour. It shouldn't take you an hour, and you're done. Okay. Or I send out my messages, timer, like we run on power hours. You should be able to effectively build a multi-million-dollar business in less, like, during really big seasonal push months, 3 to 5 hours max a day. And you can find 2 hours early or waking up and 2 hours at night, or 10 minutes between the day and 1 hour at night. Like, but this is, again, the lack of discipline. And it's because you're trying to avoid or numb what's really going on, or you're not taking care of your mental health, your physical health. And so therefore I can't perform. And therefore I'm scrolling and I'm trying to numb. And now I'm in Pinterest and YouTube, and now I'm learning how to bake cookies. Like, what the freak, right? So gross. So again, finding that disciplined time so that we're not like, oh, babe's home. Hey, I'm working. And you're like, crap, I haven't done anything all day. Laundry's not done. Kids aren't, like, they're still in their pajamas, and food's not done. Crap. And my business is done. Be disciplined. Work this like a job. Work this like a business, okay? So communication is key, making sure you're using your time wisely, and trusting that you are using it effectively. Anything you want to add before we move on real quick?
Well, I think the easiest way for me to be disciplined is to write things down.
Yep, put it on the calendar.
Okay, because there was a really, really good quote that I heard the other day, and I do not remember it exactly. I should have written it down. But it was something like, we think that we are working all day because we feel like we need to be working. You know, that feeling like, okay, I should be working. So you get on your phone and you're on social media, and like Amber said, you go down a rabbit hole, right? You scroll for a little bit, you check your notifications, somebody commented on your post, you go on there, you like their comment, you interact a little bit. That's work. That's good interaction, like you're working. And then you get out of that, and there's a video below that post. You click on the video, and it's a funny video of a cat doing something. And then the next video pops up, and then like 30 minutes later, you watch 87 videos in a row, and then you close that and get into Pinterest or whatever. So a lot of times we feel like we should be working, and so we are on our phones, but are we actually doing the things that will build our business? And a clear way to find out is to write down what you need to do every day and then check it off.
Yep.
And when you've checked it off,
you're done.
Then be done and go live your life. Spend time with your kids, spend time with your husband, do the chores, do whatever.
I found too, you guys, the most effective and most happy, there was a time in a season when I was breaking out in hives. I was so stressed out. I was absolutely sick. I thought that I had to keep up with this person who's enrolling 600 million distributors a month and loyal customers. And if I'm not doing that, I suck and I'm bad. And oh my gosh, she's on her phone. She's doing 16 lives a day. I just can't even do one. Stop. Comparison is the thief of joy. And if you are comparing right now what your day looks like, that's like comparing what my kid's shoes look like to the next kid's shoes. Okay. Like they run them differently, right? So don't compare, but say what's going to work for me effectively, that's going to produce results, that is going to make me happy, make my marriage happy, make my kids happy. That's ultimately what I want, is I want to live in a happy home with happy kids and a happy husband and a happy money. Okay, that's a book called Happy Money if you want to check it out. But if I feel overwhelmed, you are doing it. It's not your team, it's not your spouse, it's not your kids. You're allowing that. And so how can I be more effective in my time? I will tell you, there is so much distractions, and I can do a whole thing on discipline, a whole freaking Zoom on it. There's so many things that I have learned. Phone's always on silent. No matter what, 24/7, my phone is on silent. It is like a drug when we see and hear things. Okay. That's like, I'll give a few right now, but we'll do a whole Zoom on this. Number 2, if I am tagged in something, if I make a post about something and it's a lot of engagements, I click the 3 dots, turn off notifications. I don't really care how many likes are on that, but your mind and your ego wants to. And every time someone likes on it, whoop, check my phone. Check. Why? To see that it went from 37 to 38? Who cares?
And it's a proven thing, guys. It's a little dopamine boost. Oh, that's
it's so dumb.
Oh, I got a like. I got a
comment. Who cares? Turn it off.
Like that is not, it's giving you a dopamine boost and it's making your body like, oh, this is cool, 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 this is cool. But long term, that does not support your long term goals. You've got to have a long term vision.
Yeah, that's the distraction all day long. So the next question is, my husband is not working the business, but helps a lot. He helps a lot. What can I have him do? What can I have him do that would be most helpful for my business? We've kind of touched base on this, you guys. Find out what he wants to help with, and then offer suggestions too. Like, would you mind doing laundry one day a week? Would you mind on the days that I have sip-in samples that like you put the kids to bed? Like, would you mind? Okay, ask, communicate. Months in and what it looks like.
Hold on, I'm going to hit on that. Okay, there's 2 huge things that I encourage husbands to do when it comes to this business. The one thing is, there are some reports in the back office that you can pull to help your wife be more successful. It can be like who's enrolling so that she can do recognition. For diamonds and above, it could be the CAB report. There's just a couple of those things, and I can make a post on that later in the different pages. But the other thing that's a really great thing that you can do to support your wife in this business is to brag about her on social media.
So true.
And I saw that camera shift over there. Okay, guys, here's something that I'm going to
tell her how hot she is. Just kidding.
Okay, really. But there's something really cool that happens when you brag about your wife and all the hard work that she's doing. And from a marriage standpoint, it's amazing because our wives do work hard. They work their butts off. They're making sacrifices to build this business. They're making sacrifices to build this marriage, to build this family, and they should be recognized for that. So that's the number one thing.
Let me interject real quick, you guys, both ways.
Yeah,
you
absolutely
need to brag about your husband, and not brag, like give gratitude. Like, let's start with a thanks.
Recognize it. But here's something else that's really cool that happens when you brag about your wife on social media. How many women are out there right now, and men, but we're going to talk specifically about women because it's more relevant to our business. How many women out there right now feel underappreciated, unloved, like they're working hard, that it's not being recognized, like they're in a job that they feel replaceable? Okay. There's so many women out there that are not recognized for the hard work that they do at home. They're not recognized for the hard work that they do at work if they're working a 9-to-5 job. They're not recognized and they're not appreciated. So when your market sees that your hard work is recognized, that it's appreciated, that your husband is bragging about you, that could be the determining factor that somebody decides to join your business over, because it's needed. I mean, like I said, this is across the board for men and women, but I just want to speak specifically about women. They will be attracted to your business when they see that that you are supported, that you are appreciated, and that you are recognized for your hard work and your achievement, because they want to be appreciated. They want to be recognized for their hard work and their achievement. And so it's a really great thing for your marriage, and it's a really great thing for your marriage or for your business as well.
Touche. And vice versa, you guys. Like, there's so many women that are like, oh my gosh, I would love to have the freedom to go out with my girlfriends and have my husband watch my kids. Like, I would love that, but we can't afford it. So again, those are opportunity posts that you guys can do to just help out. But sometimes I feel like the best thing to do to help out is to not say a word, or just say, thanks, babe, you're working hard, cheer me on, or don't say anything at all. You know, what's that old quote? Don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Like, sometimes we're like, I need to vent to you and I don't want you to speak to me. Thanks. I need a soundboard because I can't go to my downline. I can't go to my upline. I need you right now, and I don't need you to judge me or speak on it or roll your eyes or grunt or anything else. Yeah, I don't need you to fix it. I just need you to listen, okay? So sometimes you just need to be a soundboard, okay? Month's end and what that can look like and feel like for a distributor and getting support from the spouse, balancing work, marriage, and growing together. Again, we kind of touched base on that, is communicate. Okay, babe, we might not get 4 hours a date night this week. We only get 1. What night do you want to do it? Okay, cool. He wants it on Friday night at 7 o'clock at the ball game. I know that I'm going to put up a post before we get to the ball game, before I get in the car, so I can respond afterwards. And while I'm present, it is accumulating interest. So there are little moments of squeeze in. And there's been times, you guys, where I'm like, babe, date night, like, come on, vice versa, right? Like, babe, we're almost here. Like, do you need me to handle something? What do you need me to help you with? Like, we're done working. We're clocking out. And I think for us, this business comes with us so often that you forget that there is a clock in and a clock out. There are many VIP leaders who have learned this lesson the hard way, where they say, okay, from 3 to 8, nobody talks to me. My team knows there's a team page. There's no emergency from 3 to 8. That is my time with my family, with my kids. The end, non-negotiable every single time.
And that may work for you guys. You may not need that.
Yeah.
Like I said, something I was going to hit on in the topic that we just ended up talking about is the more aware you are of what's going on, the easier all of this stuff will be. Every single thing that we've talked about, the more aware you are of what's going on, you can adjust things and make adjustments.
And communicate, again, the 5 love languages. If you're married or in a relationship, I would highly recommend that book. They do change. Luckily for us, we share both the primary and secondary love language. So it's very easy for us to communicate love. If you're like, I need words of affirmation, which is what Josh is talking about, bragging about. And you're like, and he's like, why do I even need to say anything? Like, don't you know?
I told you I loved you when we got married.
Yeah, 10 years
That's
ago.
enough.
Like, right? Because words of affirmation may not be for him. So you're going to be like, hey, babe, I'm going to type up a post. Can you post it? And you're going to say, thanks, babe. That made me feel so good, right? And then you're going to like kiss him and love him because physical touch is his love language, okay? So again, remind them or say, babe, I don't need flowers from you, okay? I get gifts as your love language. I don't want flowers. They die in 3 days, but I need you to tell me how hot I am, how incredible I am, how amazing you are, blah, blah, blah. Tell me to go build a business, boo. Like, I need you to give me words of affirmation, right? So communicate and take the test. Like that's a date night idea. Take the test. What's your 5 love languages? What's your primary? What's your secondary? Learn a new language.
Something I'll say about that really quickly is just, a lot of the things that we've talked about is like working in your strengths and figuring out who's better at what and all of that. There's some stuff that just has to be done. And even if it's not your strength, you just got to do it. And the reason that I thought of that is just because a lot of guys don't like to vocalize feelings. They don't like to say things. They don't like to post on social media how much they love their wife or how proud they are about them. But if that's your wife's love language, man, you just got to do it.
Yeah.
It will pay and pay and pay you for the rest of your life if you will just learn how to do that. It's just a must. You can't avoid it.
And ladies, vice versa. If your husband's like gifts, like Josh's is like really random gifts, like really like the Instagram gets him all the time. And so I am like, hey, every item of clothing I've ever bought him, he's like, too short. Like this is like, it just doesn't fit. And I'm like, cool. How much money do you want? Go buy your own gifts. Like, right? I'm going to gift you money. Go buy your own gifts. So again, it's communicating that, right? Like he used to bring me flowers all the time. And now I'm like, I like flowers, but it's not really what's tickling my fancy. Okay. I need words. I need you to tell me that I look good. I'm working on my body. I'm working on this, working on that. Like that's what I need. And so you just got to be open and say, babe, I need you to like, you haven't told me I look cute.
You look cute,
tell me.
babe.
Thanks, babe.
You look cute.
That's it, guys. Like we want them to read our minds. They're not going to, vice versa. We as women need to reciprocate just as much, ask them what they want. And then when they do it, give gratitude, like above and beyond. Oh my gosh, babe, you opened my door, acts of service. Like this is the greatest thing ever. The laundry's done. You're the best. And you're like, there came a point in our marriage and super transparent where I was like, he should cook. Why do I need to say thank you for cooking? Like that's your job. That's in your 10 acres. Why do I need to say thanks for taking out the trash? You put the trash in there too. Like that's your job. And I found myself being like, crap, I haven't said thank you for like making his half of the bed. We both make our half bed together in the morning. It's whatever. I haven't even said like, thanks for vacuuming, for running the Roomba. Hey, thanks for handling the air conditioning all night long. Okay. And making it 62 and 85, like all day long. Like we need to
so hot in here right now.
Well, that's because
I turned this AC off. It was too loud for this Zoom, but it's hot.
And I'm like, I'm great. Right. So
doesn't our hair look good today though, guys?
Do you like it? I don't know.
It's super cute. It's a different way. It's never done it like this before.
That's been 9 years since I've curled it. So again, it's communicating effectively what love language they want. Okay. So love language is huge. It'll definitely help your business in planning those categories of having a good life, a good business, a good relationship, good finances, all the above. Okay. And then month's end is communicating. Josh knows month's end, like the 1st to the 5th, it's kind of like, for us, it's just crazy all year round. But the 1st to the 5th, it's like, okay, let's do date night more towards this. After the 25th, it's like, we got an hour. That's it. Because we're pushing for promotions. You just know that. Whereas a lot of people are like, oh, it's month's end. I know I need to dive in. He doesn't know. So now he's mad. Well, because you haven't effectively communicated that, hey, babe, I've got 3 girls for pushing for diamond. You might see me a little less right now. Okay. Like you might just see me a little less, and communicate that. As a business owner, our daughter's birthday's on the 31st. That'll never change. Weird. My birthday's on the 31st. That'll never change. As a business owner, I know I will never celebrate my birthday or my daughter's birthday on the 31st. And do you think I care? Because I can celebrate it any day of the year, no matter what. She don't know the difference. And we can celebrate it bigger and better because I've sacrificed the 31st on her birthday for 7 years. It's month's end. It's my team's time. And she knows that. You know what we did? We just got to celebrate 4 days worth. And what do you think she's going to remember? The day it was celebrated on or what we did? So again, as a business owner, where am I sacrificing? AKA investing and making it known. Our anniversary never changes. September 16th. Well, that's so weird. Green carpet is that same week. So what are we doing? We're making it work. Or we're going to say, okay, we do it afterwards. It's not the day, you guys. It's the way that you handle it. Okay. So month's end, communicate and just say, On the 1st, I'm all yours, babe. But the 31st, don't have the kids by me, do all the laundry. I'm going on girls' night, and we're going to handle this promotion so we can have 2 nights of date night. So we can have groceries next month. Communicate, right? Like, what's the win? All right?
Yeah, I mean, when we first started this, you know, like Amber said when she was telling our story, you know, all of our friends knew how much we invested in marriage, how much marriage meant to us, how much time we loved to spend together. Guys, after we went on our first date, it was like 6.5 months before we spent a single day apart. We love spending time together. Everyone knew that about us. And so when we got started in this business, and like Amber said, like I was at work all day, we would meet at my work. I would go home with the kids. She would go to parties. Like she was doing some weeks she did 12 parties in a week. 12.
But look at the payout.
And our friends ask us all the time, like, isn't that hard for you guys to spend that time apart? Like normally you guys spend all sorts of time together.
Every night, like for years, like anytime we were together, we worked at the same building when we were dating.
And, you know, my response to those guys really was no. We communicated it, and we knew that we were investing in our future. And because we made that investment, because she worked so hard, because I supported her, now we spend every day together. We sacrificed a few hours to be able to spend years and years and years and years together. So just keep that in mind, guys. And if there's any men on here, I see a couple, or if the guys are watching later on, like just remember that, like, you guys are making investments in your future right now. I did some math the other day. I'm gonna do it. No, I remember it. I did some math the other day. No, I don't remember it. I'm gonna do some math.
Josh is the green in this family, you guys, if you haven't noticed. I'm like the total red, yellow, blue, and Josh is like green, yellow, green, yellow,
okay.
Green.
It was what I thought. Okay. So I did a little bit of math. If I was working 40 hours a week, normal 9-to-5 job, this doesn't even count commuting. 40 hours a week over the last 7 years, I have 14,560 hours with my wife and with my kids that I otherwise would have been working for somebody else, probably doing something that I didn't love. Because we spent that first year working hard and building a check that allowed me to come home and build this business with my wife. Maybe I'm speaking out of place here, but I don't think we would have been in this business anymore or nearly this successful if I had been she wouldn't have done it, honestly.
Well, I almost quit at Ruby.
I can confidently say, like, just because of the dynamics of our marriage, like if I had said no, or if I would not have supported her, she wouldn't even lasted a month, and I would be still working a 9-to-5 job, probably somewhere that I don't like.
Food stamps, like,
you know, who knows? I could honestly say that I would almost be in tears, like thinking about where we would be, not having this business in our life and having comparatively the life that we have now and the time we're able to spend together. And guys, all of the normal stuff is there, like the time that we're able to spend together as a couple, the time I'm able to spend with my kids, you know, all the other fun stuff like houses and cars and all that stuff is amazing. Financial freedom, not being stressed out about finances, right? But the other side of that is, like, I would just be probably not working a job that I love.
We call that cruise control, where you're on the same cycle as you were the same 7 years, and in 27 years you're going to be in the same position, and you're both going to be miserable and or not living your best life. And I think that this is the vehicle, you guys, that you can either do it together. I'm not saying every spouse should be doing this business together. If you're not doing this business together, there's an analogy that I heard from an amazing leader, and she was saying that, like, her husband holds the ladder so she can climb. And if that's all we need you to do is to hold this ladder, I'll climb. I'll do the work. I'll sign up all the customers and distributors, baby. All I need you to do is to hold my ladder so I can climb. That's more effective than saying, where's this money? Where's that money? How come you brought in 1,000 last month and only 300 this month? Like, that is not going to help the situation any. Okay. And again, going back to if he was working full time at a 9-to-5 job, at a salary job, and all of a sudden he was expecting a Christmas bonus. And I said, babe, how come you don't have your Christmas bonus? Babe, how come you didn't sell this many cars? Is that going to effectively produce better results? No. So I think too, you guys are going to have to make short-term sacrifices, long-term vision, be on the same page, read the same book, be on the same page, do your personal and professional growth together. The last thing before we jump off, I know this one a little bit longer, you guys, but I feel like it was such good content that, and you guys, the chat's just insane blowing up. But the last thing we want to talk about is that there are so many areas of growth in this business. And one of the many ways is obviously personal, it's business, and then it's growing together. And like I mentioned, I am a person. Amber needs to grow. Josh needs to grow. Our business needs to grow. Our kids both need to grow separately and together. And so again, if I'm going to put on all the hats that I need to wear, I'm exhausted. But if I only focus on one area, as in my business, do you think my marriage is going to last? Do you think my husband's going to be happy? Do you think my kids are going to be happy? And then what am I going to have? Guilt. But if you don't think that if I'm like, oh, Josh is the only one growing and I'm just sitting here, he's going to feel guilty growing without me. And if you're not growing, you're dying. And whether that's personal, professional, and together. And I think, again, going back to when you decided to be in a relationship, whether you're married or you're in a relationship, this is a we thing. This is an us thing. This isn't an I, this isn't a mine, this isn't a you, this isn't a yours. This is a we thing. And if you can start, whether I don't care the dynamics of who's enrolling, who's not enrolling, who's building a business. If you're building your husband's paycheck, great job, 2 paychecks. Don't expect him to build his own business. That's not how this works.
Unless he wants to.
Unless you want it to,
If
but
he
it
wants
doesn't.
to, cool, but if not, don't
You
force it.
decided to build your husband. Okay? Like, it's the same thing. Like, I'm not going to go build my sister and be like, I built you. No, you decided to. Okay. So finding the growth in all areas, and then wives, don't be mad if your husband wants to go and grow personally too. Okay. You know, husbands, don't be mad if your wife's like, babe, I need an hour of girl time to grow my mind. I want to go to a Bible study. I want to pick Wednesday mornings and do this Bible study. Cheer them on. Be supportive. If it's allowing them to be the best version of themselves, why would you not want to support that? And vice versa. And that's, again, going back to the communication of, is this going to make me a better person? Yes or no? If the answer is no, stop doing it. Stop wasting your time. If it's yes, then keep doing it, and communicate. Anything you want to add before we jump off?
Yeah, the last thing that I wanted to add, the reason I thought of it is because we were talking about phones, but really it bleeds into a lot of different areas. But we were talking about this in the car when we were driving around, the example that Amber gave earlier. But when it comes to like time on phone and like how you're managing your time and all of that, obviously communicate about it. That's really important so that you guys have a good expectation. But then as you get into it, you need to have trust and accountability when it comes to phone time. So once you've communicated it and you said, like, if you've decided on times or whatever you've decided on, there needs to be trust and there needs to be responsibility. So if Amber's on her phone and she's over there on the couch on her phone, I'm going to trust that she is being responsible with her time on her phone. I'm going to trust that she's not just messing around and playing Candy Crush or wasting her time away from the family and away from me. I'm going to trust that she's working and I'm not going to question her on it, right? I trust that we've had this conversation and that she wants to invest in our marriage, and I'm trusting that she is using her phone time wisely. At the same time, she is going to be responsible with that trust, right? She's not going to betray that trust. She's going to be responsible with her phone time. She's going to work when she needs to work. She's going to maybe scroll a little bit and do some personal social media stuff because she just needs a little bit of a break. Yeah, she just needs a little bit of a break. And needs to decompress and wants to get caught up with her family and friends, cool. You know, that's not a big deal, as long as it's not hours and hours and hours and hours, right? So that's the last thing that I wanted to point out, is just give your spouse some grace and trust them, and trust that they're being responsible with the way that they are managing their time. And on the flip side of that, be responsible. Be a responsible member of the family. Be a responsible spouse, and manage your time appropriately so that you can invest in your marriage, so that you can invest in your business, so you can invest in your kids, and so that you can build the type of life that you want to be living. Because all of these distractions and all of these other things that we do in order to avoid those conversations or not do what we're supposed to be doing, it's just people have those on repeat, and then next year you're going to be doing that again, and 5 years from now you're still going to be doing the same thing, and it's not going to get you where you want to be. And we want to see you guys where you want to be. Guys, it's so awesome. And we're still working. We're not perfect.
No way.
But we are super blessed and grateful for where we're at, and we want every single person on this call to have those types of blessings that come from building this business the right way.
And you can find a way that definitely works it. And that's one thing that Josh and I live by. We stand by. We know without a doubt you can have it all. And that's, you can have a rockin' body, a banging business, and an incredible marriage if you put the work in and you find the discipline. So we love you guys. Thank you so much for jumping on. We will get this recording up on our YouTube that we have, and we'll also get it shifted out to the team pages as well. But we appreciate you guys, and let's finish out the month. We are going to get ready to do a Zoom at 8 p.m., so in about an hour and a half, on how to maximize the promotion that's going on right now, in the same Zoom ID in about an hour and a half. So we love you guys. Again, communicate with your spouse. If he says, nope, babe, you said no, then you guys get to watch the recording, okay? So going back to the discipline, if you're like, babe, there's a new Zoom, I want to jump on, is that okay? Yeah, great, communicate, right? So hopefully we'll see you guys on at 8 o'clock, the same Zoom ID. Love you guys, and let's have it all. Oh, stop recording.